Huh? This ain't nothing new,
What's
it's what we
going on,
been doing.
YouTube?
This ain't nothing new, it's what we been
It's
doing.
another episode of what we've
Doing
been doing.
what we been doing.
We're going to be
This ain't
doing
nothing
part two of the interior color change. This one is this video is going to be we're mainly going to be focusing on getting the center armrest hole in the back seat made. Um, it's a long process, so like I said in previous videos, like the attention span of people, it's not very high, so I try to keep the videos like within the 15-minute window. Like I did a 20-minute window, and I believe a 20-minute video, and I don't think anybody watches the whole 20 minutes. So we start now. This is going to be the center portion. Like I said, right there, the center console. If you're familiar with the inside of a car, it's going to be the where the seat comes down, the back seat comes down, and normally there's a cup holder in there or whatever. It's an armrest for the back seat, basically, in the center. So it's not going to be too much to talk about. I'm currently going to be experimenting with different ways to get this content out a little quicker, or I want to be able to cut the video up well enough to where you can still get what I'm trying to do, or get what I'm trying to show you, that what I'm doing, and then I don't have to show you too much of it. So we'll start to see a lot of cutaway action going on in the upcoming videos, especially when I'm doing projects that are really time consuming. But as you can see, that's the first half of the seat that you saw in the other videos, and I'm working on the center, so we're just gonna go piece by piece and put that together. Making some relief cuts for the curve over here, just so that it'll wind up being straight. Makes it a lot easier to sew. You don't have to fight it as much. Apologize for the blur. That's that autofocus killing me every now and again. It's crazy how often I had to stop because of that autofocus, because I was trying to get the shot with the sewing close up, and it kept catching my hand moving fast, and then it wanted to focus on my hand, and then I had to like swing at the camera and all this other stuff just to get it to focus. Sometimes I even had to zoom all the way out and zoom all the way back in just to get it to come back. It was kind of funny, or kind of irritating, to be honest with you, because it actually happened a lot. Some of it I kept, as you can tell. And yeah, you see, this is the point that I was making. I'm gonna try to make sure I can get through these ports a lot faster in the future, because it's just really long. Right now I'm doing the French seam, or the over stitch, what other people call it. Trying to make sure it gets right. You see, I'm working that wheel with the hand. I am not using any motor at all for the French seam, because I want that to be real straight. Those are all my style points. That's where I get my style points from. And right here, this is just where it turns the corner. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm turning the corner. It just turns the corner right before it hits that J clip that I already put on. That's not really a J clip. It's another type of clip. But let's just call it a J clip. No, we won't call it a J clip, but it's a clip. And look at all this unfocus. How did I miss this? Like, you see, that's me waving at the camera, trying to get it to come back in focus, and zoom out, zoom in, and we got it. It's crazy how much film that I had that was like kind of messed up because I wasn't like watching the viewfinder, and the viewfinder I normally flip it around and so I can see it, and I wasn't watching it. But so this right here I had to backtrack, and if you, as you can tell, you see I was working on the center portion of the seat, but this is the back side of the first half that I did, and I realized that I hadn't put the Velcro, the hook and loops, or the loop portion of the hook and loop system that holds the seat in, the seat cover down into the crevices, if we want to call it that today. And I was thinking, I was like, oh man, the seat's getting really big, and for me to not have done this already, and I should have probably done it like as it was getting made, and it was small, because the larger and larger the seat cover gets, the more and more difficult it gets to handle. Like I'm constantly knocking things off the table, and it's just hard to do. And then some things like I can't really sew from the right side of the needle, or my right hand, the left side of the needle itself. And it's hard to do because, of course, the throat of the sewing machine isn't as, it's a decent sized throat, but it's not, you know, full back seat cover size large enough. And then, you end up having to roll it up. It just gets really difficult. And so it was my fault that I didn't get that done, but I did catch it before it got really big. And so that's why the deal's getting backtracked on. And so for anybody that's wondering, this hook and loop setup that's on here, um, it's on most car seat covers they have like a bar, or like a rod, almost looks like a wire hanger rod that goes through the foam. The foam is split and it has like the bar that goes through it, and you use hog rings to pull those seams down into the crevices to make those deep points of the seat. And on this particular seat, you don't have that. You got the hooks that are like glued down to the inside of the crevice, and we're going to call it the crevice today, of the foam. And then these are the loops. And so when you attach it to the seat, you just stick the loops in, and the hooks catch onto it. Just some Velcro. For those of you that don't know what hook and loop is, it's Velcro. And then it just holds it in. It's really strong hook and loop too. And but there you have it. It's in there. But yeah, this seat has 0 hog ring on it, which is nice. Even though I got a set of hog ring pliers prior to doing this, and hog rings, and I didn't even need it. But who knows? I got some other people they talking like they want um some stuff done. So maybe it'll come in handy eventually. And by no means do I plan on being a professional poster, but I got friends that have that have car projects and stuff like that, and they want something done, and I can help them. I'll do it. I'm all about helping somebody save a couple of $1,000s if I can. I don't charge people like that. So, and that is the reason behind why I decided that I wanted to do some YouTube, because I think it's really helpful, if you give people the confidence to be like, you know what, I'm just going to try to do it myself. Like, why would I pay somebody all this money? Right here, what I'm doing is I have another one of the needles that's the same exact size as my thread sewing machine needle, and the plastic, the hook, the latch, or the plas, or the, I don't know, clip. I was pre-poking holes in that. If you can see them right there, I was pre-poking the holes in that clip because I was trying to avoid, i.e., breaking my needle, cutting the thread, it's gonna break. While doing this, it broke like I don't know how many times before I got it right, and that's how come it just cut away. And I mean, later I found out that you see the thread is bunching up right there. That's because the plastic is fraying the thread, and so I'm starting all over again. I flipped it over from the other side, but later I found out that the machine is actually fully capable of just punching new holes through these clips, like, and so I ended up learning that before this job was over with. But I was concerned with whether or not the needle is was going to be able to do it. And this is a 10 needle, and I know a lot of people use like 16s when they do upholstery, but I just, for the size of the thread that I got, it just seemed like a 16 needle was like an overkill. So I'm using a size 10 needle. And so we got those clips hooked back up, and now we're back going into the working on that center portion of it. And this part has got to be by far the hardest portion of the seat to do, because if you think about it as like a flat piece of paper, like the front of this seat was like the flat sheet of paper, and then this part is like the corner, the three-dimensional portion, because you got to turn and go in to the seat, because this is where the armrest folds up and goes inside. So it was like a lot more difficult to like mock up and like see how it was going to come together, or how you had or how you needed to sew it together. Because honestly, like, you take this seat apart, and then before you, like, there's so much prep work before you get to actually sewing, you kind of forget how it went together. So like all the index markings help and all that other stuff, but I mean, you like to know, like, with the clips that I have on there, like, you don't know how long it takes me to actually get those on, because I'm like, which way does it lay? Because, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Right here again, I don't know why I keep showing you guys that I tie the thread at the end. But I do a lock stitch, though, for those of you guys that didn't know. So right now I'm just checking to see if I left like a gap. See, because if you notice, like I said, this is where it changes direction, and so you gotta put two seams that go in different directions together, or that are on two different planes, I guess. And it's a little bit hard. It was a little bit more tasking, but and like I said, I got like when I was done with it, I was like, that took a very, very long time for the amount of leather or vinyl that I actually put together. It was just really, really long. It was a long, long process. This video is going to end up being like 15 minutes long or so, and I believe that on the card it was actually like 7 or 8 hours of actual footage, and this is like a 15-minute long with like 16 times time lapse. And as you can see, that's the center part. That's all we did right there, was that center portion that goes in.
This ain't nothing new.
Thanks for watching.
This ain't nothing new. It's what we been doing. What we been doing. What we been doing. This ain't nothing.